And earlier today, we sent out a press release involving a rabid fox. So there was a rabid fox that attacked 2 people in the vicinity of Old Salem and also near the Williamson Rec Center. So it did test positive for rabies. These 2 people have sought medical care. What we want to do is urge anyone in the public that was visiting the area that may have had any exposure to a fox from June 20th to June 27th in those areas to contact their doctor. And when I say exposed, have contact with the fox, okay? Fox bit them, scratched them, or the fox attacked their pet while they were walking a pet, or came into their yard, attacked a pet. And again, the exposure would be the fox bit, scratched, attacked their pet. So if someone has come in contact, they need to call their doctor and seek medical attention. And if their pet was exposed, they need to call their veterinarian and take the veterinarian's advice, because there is booster shots that can be given. All right.
My name is Charles Cahill with the Environmental Health Section. My part of this is actually dealing with the wildlife and what might occur naturally in the wildlife, which we have come to realize that rabies is prevalent in the wildlife, and the only way that we can, I guess, a barrier that we put up is vaccinating our pets. So that's the first and foremost thing we talk about when it comes to, like I said, the barrier is get your pets vaccinated. Do not approach wildlife. If you do have contact with wildlife, the best thing to do is to contact the non-emergency, telephone number of Animal Control, and they will start an investigation. And once that investigation is started, then they will give us the information, and then we will look into whether or not there's an exposure. We will talk about the vaccination status. We will talk about quarantining if it's necessary of the pets. So once again, to restate what Mo said, is if you were concerned that your animal had contact, then you need to contact your veterinarian and let them discuss your vaccination history. Contact Animal Control, because investigation will be started, and hopefully you're being a good pet owner and your animals are currently vaccinated.
Has the fox been located?
It has. The fox was located and tested, euthanized and tested.
What were the people doing when they were attacked?
One person was just walking in an area, and the other person was actually working in the area. It was outside, of course.
Is there like a specific road or block that these attacks happened on?
Well, one was in Old Salem, one was Williamson Rec Center area. So
Around Williamson
yeah.
Rec Center?
So we just, foxes travel, it's a wild animal, a lot of green space there. So we really want to reach out to anybody that may have had interaction with that fox in those areas. Don't really want to pinpoint it down, because that fox wasn't staying still, he was moving.
Do you guys think there's like any other foxes out there, or any potential victims based off of what happened?
We would hope that any victims, would have been reported. So by law, anytime somebody's treated for an animal attack or a bite, it is reported to the health department, and it's also reported to Animal Services, and they do an investigation.
And I'd like to add too that there will be wildlife all over the area, and rabies is prevalent in the wildlife. Mm-hmm. So the hook here is to avoid wildlife. They're not cute. Don't approach them. Try to feed them, and it is just it's not just foxes. It's all wildlife in that area, and that's just a natural area where they're going to be they're going to be prevalent.
Do you guys know of any other cases in Winston-Salem for rabies any time recently?
Since the beginning of the year, we've had 4 positive animals, a couple of foxes, or 1 fox, 2 skunks, and a raccoon. But, I want to reiterate, we only test an animal if there's been interaction with a human or with a pet. So we may have a lot of animals out there that are showing signs of rabies, but we're not testing them unless there's a threat to someone or their pet.
Do you know how many pet and human interactions with a rabid animal has been reported this year?
Well, I do not.
Yeah, I don't know
it
that
is a
there's-
number, it's a number.
So we get all bites are reported to animal control, and then they start the investigation, so we get all the information after they start the investigation. So there could be countless numbers that we don't know about. With the way that I guess the seasons that people are out, it's not that wildlife's more prevalent, it's not that rabies is more prevalent, it's just we're all outside now and with our pets and everyone is having interactions. So to say how many wildlife and pet interactions there are, there's really no way for us to know unless they've been reported.
What's
Yeah.
sorry, what's the treatment like for a human that's been bit or scratched?
That's a good question. So, you know, we vaccinate our animals to prevent rabies, but we don't vaccinate people routinely for rabies. So it is a series of vaccines. They are given, it's a series of 5 shots. 2 shots, the first one is actually putting immune globulin in their body to fight rabies, and then they're given a vaccine. Vaccines tell our body to make antibodies, and then that's followed by 3 additional vaccines. And they're at specific days, day 0, 3, 7, and 14. And they can get those through an emergency room. And we do have some urgent cares in our area that carry it.
And those 2 victims that were bit, are you able to give their state? Are they doing okay?
I can tell you that they're both undergoing treatment.
You speak to your efforts to get the word out today.
Yeah, we really want to get the word out that, you know, we investigate these reports every day. But this one, you know, is a little bit more publicized because it happened in a tourist area, and, you know, the fact that 2 people were attacked, you know, by a fox. We just really want the public to be aware, on their toes, and keep their pets vaccinated. Charles?
Absolutely. Keep the pets vaccinated. Be aware of your surroundings when you're out with your pets. You're never going to know when one's coming at you, so there's a chance. So just be aware of where you are. We've also been around Old Salem, knocked on a few doors, talked to the university, the college, and let them know what's happening and let them know what our concerns are. Concerns are not necessarily any exposure that you've had today forward. Obviously, be careful around the wildlife. Do not come in contact with wildlife. But our concern is anyone that might have had exposure 7 days ago or prior, because that's when we, checked with the fox and found out the fox was rabid.
Yeah.
I just want more clarification. 2 separate incidents, but do they happen on separate days or anything like that?
They happen within minutes of each other.
And with holiday celebrations coming up and the potential of a lot of people being around the Old Salem area, are there any precautions that the city is taking to sort of mitigate the potential of these attacks, or any advice that you have for people who might be going out at those times?
I would again just reiterate about approaching wildlife. That's, to me, is the big point. That vaccinating your pets is actually the number 1 thing. Number 2 thing I think we can kind of glean from this, but also there's not anything necessarily that we can do other than get the word out and just say be cautious, because there's wildlife prevalent in that area. The greenway, the creek, it is prime location for wildlife. So again, we're not just talking foxes, but it's also skunks, it's also raccoons, any larger mammal is who we concern ourselves with. So I appreciate the fact that we're talking about the fox, but it's not just the fox from today forward, it's any wildlife.
Mm-hmm. And we have notified business owners, and Charles is out today knocking on doors, and, you know, the people involved know, the areas where it was involved have all been notified.
Which day did it happen, or can you guys tell us? Which day did the attacks happen?
Which day? On the 27th. So that's why we're doing those 7 days up to any exposure to the fox. So rabies is fatal in people, fatal in animals. So if we guess, because we only know with domestics, but we would guess a wild animal that was shedding rabies, sick with rabies, would be dead within 7 to 10 days.
Minutes apart, June 27th.
And what are some common signs of rabies that people can look out for to be aware of?
I want to reiterate, you do not want to have symptoms of rabies. If you have symptoms of rabies, it's fatal, it's too late, there's nothing you can do about it. What can you look for in animals? A lot of times, people will say an animal acts like it's drunk, it staggers, stumbles. With wildlife, sometimes we see them being aggressive, they're not afraid of people. Those are the biggies. It's a neurological condition, so it affects the brain, the nerves.
But also, just because the animal's not showing any of those symptoms does not mean the animal is not rabid. So just be cautious with any wildlife.
Because they can actually shed the virus before the symptoms, which is true with a lot of our diseases.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Can you test a person for rabies?
You cannot test someone for rabies, and again, if someone's showing signs of rabies and it's determined they have rabies, it's too late.
Can you test an animal for rabies?
You cannot. You cannot. No. So you just, the vaccines are extremely effective for animals and people.